Hi, I'm Peter Reinhardt, and welcome to Pizza Quest. I'm here with Siler Chapman, an old friend. You've been on many times, Si, and welcome back to Pizza Quest. You are world champion. You are part of the world pizza champion team, but you're also now this year a new world champion. So, can you tell
Yeah.
everybody what that's all about? What did you just win?
So I won the Americano or the Caputo Cup Americana division in Italy there in I'm going blank now that it's so hot over here.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right in
but
front of it.
yeah,
This is
so
one of the hottest days of the year here in Charlotte, and
but
you're in.
yeah, we won in Naples. And this was Peter by far the biggest award that I've ever won because I've been known as the acrobatic kid, right? And doing acrobatics, I've got my three world titles in the acrobatic division. But this being a cooking division, it only took me 22 years to get it, but I got it, and I'm super excited. So
Well, that's kind of one of the cool things, the evolution of the World Pizza Champions team, which started at least 20 years ago. And you were just a kid. You were one of the early members of the team with Tony Gemignani as your sort of mentor and guide, as he's been for many others. I know some of the other friends of Pizza Quest, like Leo Spazzeri, goes back to those early days with you. So we've
oh
talked
yeah,
about that. But those in those days, the World Pizza Champions were mostly doing acrobatics and doing, kind of performance stuff with pizza. And now those members are now all starting to win, championships for their pizzas, the pizzas themselves. The whole game is,
right.
in other words, and everybody's raised their game.
Well, and it's funny because I think it was in 2006 or seven. Tony came to us all and said, "Okay, guys, you better start learning how to cook because this is where it's going to be next. We got to quit being the acrobatics and we got to become chefs and really elevate our game to that aspect." And I've always been working on the craft and always trying to get better. I mean, I've been working with you on we've talked about mixing flours for a long time. Even on perfecting pizza, we've talked about it,
Yep.
and where that's going. So everybody for the last 5 6 years, the dough process and what people are doing is just phenomenal. And so it's so hard to compete now. You never know. But the dough was perfect for me. Everything turned out ecstatic. So I'm
Tell us
super
about the
excited.
actual pizza. So you're in Naples. You're in this worldwide pizza competition called the Caputo Cup, and
Yep.
you were in a particular division. What was it? The Classic American division?
Yeah, the Americano division.
Americana. So what defines that? By the way, for those, some of you are watching this on our Zoom version, some are listening on the audio. Those who can't see, Siler's standing in front of a wood-fired oven on the hottest day of the year in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's about 100 degrees today, not counting the way it actually feels, which is about 110, and you're sweating like crazy. What do you
Yeah, yeah.
you stand in front of an oven? Are you getting ready to fire up for work today? You got it's
Yeah,
on.
so we're doing a corporate event out here in Charlotte today at one of the big warehouses, and we'll end up feeding people. And uh, so yeah, it's going to be a good time, and but it's hot,
You're in your mobile rig, which we've had you on before, coming from your mobile oven, and you've got a few trucks I think that are out there. But let's get back to the pizza. Then I want to find out where it's going because I know you've got some new irons in the fire, so we want to hear about that. But let's go back to that pizza. So, what was the actual pizza that you made? Can you describe it for us?
Yeah. So in our book that we just came out with, all the world pizza champions came together and we did a book. We're trying to be like you,
Yeah, what's the
and
name of that? What's the name of that
it's
book?
called Pursuit of Pizza. And I
Pursuit of
did the honey pie, which we're known for. King of Fire is known for our honey pie, which is a pepperoni, um, red pepper flakes, and then we drizzle local honey on here. And so everybody picks on me about my local honey too, but it comes from our local distributor. So I just want to be clear on that because everybody's laughing at me in the background over here. So, but we ended up, we I did that last year at the Caputo Cup and came in fifth. And I was like, you know what? They really liked it. But I wanted to elevate my dough a little bit. So I did a 72% hydration on my dough. I did 3% salt. And I, I, I let, I did an auto lease while I was there too. But the room, it was 90 some degrees in Italy. the room was so hot, so I was really worried that it was going to blow out almost, and it was super wet, and so I kind of just kept doing folds on it, and then let it like just sit for about 4.5, 5 hours, and cool in a cooler,
Yeah.
and then ended up I finally bought it and let it sit for 24 hours. But I did use a pulley starter, so to help get that fermentation going.
Let
So
me recap that for listeners, because we've got a lot of people who are listening who are making pizza makers, either amateur enthusiasts versus professionals, but also pros. Everybody's trying to find the techniques that are going to get them to the next level. So first of all, what kind of flour did you use?
I used the Caputo Americano.
So that's a particular type of Caputo flour. We've talked about that in previous shows. That was specifically designed by the Caputo company in Italy for use in these American style pizzas. Is that right?
Correct, correct.
Okay, and if people, are wondering, okay, what's that like? Is it comparable to kind of like a King Arthur flour or a bread flour, would you say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely got the high protein in it. And then I feel like it's a cleaner. It doesn't have a ton of ingredients in it. It's
Uh,
very clean.
and
It's not. It doesn't have a lot of additives, which is
it's a
really nice.
higher protein flour than the regular 00 pizza flour.
Correct, correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we got that, and then you talked about hydration. So you got 72%. What are you typically working at then? You up the
So
hydration?
like for King of Fire, we're running about 68%. So
Okay, that sounds
so we definitely went up.
yeah.
Yeah, from
So
our
does that make it
typical.
go trickier to handle?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's super wet, tacky. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But that
Um,
also contributed to this great performance that you got in the competition itself.
That's right. That's right. And it was so and in the competition I did upside down sauce. So I did the cheese first.
Ah,
And so this pie I call it the honey pie 2.0. So we added bacon. One of my district manager, Caitlin, she loves putting bacon on hers. And I was like, you know what, I want to try it. And I loved it. And I was like, you know what, let's go.
is
So
it bacon and
um
pepperoni or bacon and
no,
pepperoni?
no, no. So we did pepperoni, bacon, a little red pepper flakes, and then we brought honey from the States all the way over to Naples. Because the honey over there is totally
Yeah.
different profile. It's not as sweet. It's probably a lot better for you over there. But I wanted something that's going to bring some heat, but at the same time have that sweetness that we were looking for.
Interesting. So did anyone comment over there on the honey itself? People noticed that it was a very
Oh
distinct.
yeah, people were like, "Why did you put honey on a pizza?" Like, you know what I mean? They're like, "What are you doing?" So, but it worked beautifully. It was perfect.
So okay, so now you mentioned something about fermentation. Now we're getting kind of down into the weeds here on pizza dough. You,
Yeah,
what I heard, if I heard you right, you did everything from using a pre-ferment, a Polish pre-ferment, like so a sponge. So you get fermentation there, plus high hydration, plus long fermentation and overnight fermentation. So a lot of different fermentation steps, right, to get you to the
correct,
final product.
correct.
And 3% salt, which is higher than a lot of recipes
Oh
will
yeah,
say 2%.
it
So what
really did. Yeah,
you think that the extra salt added helped to control the fermentation in that hot weather?
yeah, for sure. It helped a lot.
Interesting. So in other words, this is a dough in which you're pushing the envelope out of your own comfort zone, even. And had you
Oh
practiced
yeah,
with this particular dough before you got over, or did you just
yeah.
decide?
No, no, we did. I practiced with it, but I wasn't expecting it to be as wet over there. But for some reason, it was super, super wet, and I don't know, did the scale mess up or not? But no, it turned out really, really well,
Worked
and it
out.
was hot.
The question is, can you do it again? Right? Can you ever
Listen, that was a once in a million, when everything lines up perfect, that's what
yeah.
happens.
Sometimes the magic just happens. Do you make that pizza now? On the truck on King of Fire.
Yeah, we're gonna roll a new menu out next month, and we're gonna start promoting that pizza specifically that way.
What would you say it was that about the winning pizza that either from your judges' comments or from the reaction to in the audience, what was it that put you over the top and got you the gold medal? No.
Well, I think it was the combination of the dough was really fantastic. It had no flop, right? It had great structure. It was nice and crispy on the outside, but nice and soft, like a pillow inside. But what was really cool is I actually put toppings on it that were Americanized, right? A lot of people were very all over the board, right? And I think just sticking to the basics of what makes a good American pie is what we stuck to, and we added a little flair with the red pepper flakes and the honey. I mean, if anybody's listening and never tried that, guys, go do it tonight. You'll put honey on everything after that. So it's amazing.
It's amazing how hot honey has become a very big thing in the pizza world. And 5, 7 years ago, before Mike's hot honey kind of became the industry standard, no, people didn't even think about it. Now everybody's doing
Right.
it. What
That's
do you
right.
think it is about this combination of honey and pizza, especially when there's meat involved, that makes it so good?
Well, I think it's just bringing that little extra sweetness, right? Because it doesn't taste like honey when you're actually eating it. It just brings a flair of sweetness. And us Americans, unfortunately, we love sweets, right? So that on your favorite food, you can't go wrong, right? And honey pairs very well with pepperoni and sausage, bacon.
Kind
The
of.
bacon gave it a little bit more saltiness, so you had that extra little bit of hump and salt, and so that was really nice too.
Well, as you're saying that, I'm thinking number one, you've got a dough that's on the higher end of the salt content. Then you've got the bacon on top of the pepperoni, so there's a lot of salt there. Uh, do you think that in a competition that judges, because they're tasting so many different pizzas, that sometimes you have to push it beyond what's normally done in order to get their attention because their palates are fatiguing from all the tasting?
That's right. Oh yeah. I mean, I feel so bad for those judges. I mean, they're sitting there eating hundreds of those slices of pizza. It's like,
Listeners are saying you don't feel bad for him. I want to be one of those judges.
right, right. And you used to do that all the time, didn't you?
Yeah, and I've done it, and I can tell you, I agree that it sounds like a lot of fun until you get to like the 30th pizza, and you're going, "What am I doing?"
Yes. And I did the calzone in Northeast Pizza and Pasta once. I did the calzone as
Yeah,
a judge. Holy smokes! I was like, I've never eaten so much food in my life.
I remember seeing you there. We talked about it. Well, that's so. Congratulations, number one. I think that's
Thank
awesome
you.
that you nailed it, and have kind of like matched now you've got bookends. You've got your acrobatic medals, and now you've got your pizza medals. Uh,
Yeah.
where does it go from here? Because King of Fire, which you've been doing now, this mobile pizza business for a number of years. You used to have a brick and mortar place when I first met you, and then you went to mobile. Oh wait, and then the mobile, of course, you were seeing a wood fired oven behind you. When you made the pizza in the competition, did you bake it in a wood fire oven? And
So I did. I actually did it in a Pizza Master. And we did. So our temperature was like 565. When I did it in the Pizza Master, but in our wood fired. So like when you come to King of Fire, we do more Americanized wood fired pizzas instead of Neapolitan or Neapolitan. So we do slow the ovens down to around that 600, 650
yeah,
versus cranking them up,
what's a
750
typical
to.
bake time at that temperature? Oh, I see that we freeze your Wi-Fi is frozen on us. Welcome back to part two with Siler Chapman. Siler, a second ago, I know that where you're working is so hot that your phone actually heated up and froze,
It
so
did.
your phone is now sitting, on some cold water, on a cold bottle of water to cool it down, and you're back. Thank you. I know that. I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing you sweating like as we would say, and back up east we'd say schwitzing like a pig, But
That's it. That's it. But Peter, we were talking about like what's next, right? Like,
yeah, because you got
um,
big plans. I know there's some big things happening for King of Fire.
yeah. So King of Fire has sold its second franchise now. The second one's actually going to be a brick and mortar in downtown Charlotte. It's going to be more of like a quick casual, like you walk up, you order, you go sit down, they cook it, and we're actually going to have a pizza master in this one. And cook it very very quick, 3-4 minute bake times, and that's the great thing about Pizza Master, the versatility. We can duplicate the product that we're doing on the wood fired trucks just the same way in the Pizza Master.
So
So
where for those people in this area, where in downtown Charlotte will that
it's
be?
it's going to be in the green, which is right across from the convention center there in the
Yeah,
green.
that's a good area. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Convention
so we're
Center is what
literally
they
next
call
door
Uptown.
to the Sandwich Club. We're next door to them.
So you called it a franchise. What does that mean? It's that you actually have given franchise rights to somebody else to operate it. You're not going to be the operator.
I will not be the operating owner there. We have someone in place that bought the rights for the franchise, and we also have a trailer franchise. His name's Max, and he's running downtown, like South End, downtown, and Noda for the Charlotte area. He bought all the rights for that.
So the King of Fire brand is going to be expanded through these franchise operators. What does that take? I know that Tony Gimignani talked about that as well, that he's, franchised his Slice House concept. What does that mean when you go to franchise? What are their obligations back and forth?
Yeah, it's going to be really it's a lot. We have a due diligence to do for our franchisees. We've got to, make sure that we're giving them all the right materials, everything literally to be successful. We have to make sure they're going to be able to operate in a successful market. I think, and I'm very confident when I can say that we've dominated the mobile game with our trucks.
Yeah.
And understanding how to book events and how to get the right events, and hey, how do we still go to neighborhoods when other food trucks unfortunately can't do well in neighborhoods? We're the love of pizza, right? We've been able to still have that great success in neighborhoods and business parks, and now we're doing, we've already got on the books 132 weddings this year. So just the wedding game alone is phenomenal. So we've created this model that it'd be very easy to, we're going to create a little King of Fire University that they come and train with us for about 8 weeks and learn everything. And, they got to respect the craft, right? As Tony's always said, we've got to show them why the dough does what it does. And by the way, how do you adapt in extremely hot temperatures all the way to snow on the ground, right?
What about the truck itself? Do you provide that? Do they buy it? How do they get one of those?
So we're going to have a lease to own program. So for turnkey, you'll be able to have a trailer. We're going to have different models. Obviously, we'll have like the Fire Within model that we're looking at. We're also talking to Mara Forney on their mobile trailers. So we're looking at that whole dynamics of having, Model A, Model B, Model C, because let's take Charleston for an example. It's going to be hard to have a truck and trailer down in Charleston with some of those streets, right? So we got to build a food truck, right, and have that model. So we have a couple of those things in the pipeline right now to be able to show, future franchisees, hey, this is the different models. Here's what we think would fit best in your town, and that's kind of how we're going about it.
So you basically provide a lot of that, all that background research and kind of design for them the truck that they should have when you put them into business. And then in exchange for which, what do they do? What's their obligation back to you, to protect the brand and to be sure you that they are respecting the craft?
Yeah, no, for sure. So we're going to make sure that they're using, all our ingredients. Everything's going to be the same. We've got systems in place for that. But the biggest thing is, there'll be a royalty. We're doing something small at $350 a week, all the way down to 6%, whichever is greater, right? So because if we have a brick and mortar, they could do $2 million, right? So we're not gonna. We need to be able to have the support team to be able to help them with that as well, right? So, and I didn't bring this up, but we're building a 4,500 square foot restaurant in Clover, South Carolina, where we're going to do 5 different styles of pizza. So I think I'm building this restaurant more as the chef in me, wanting to showcase all the different styles. So think of Detroit. We're going to do Detroit's. We're going to do Grandma's. I want to do Chicago Cracker Thin. Everybody calls it the tavern style almost. Yeah. And then we're going to do a true New York style, and then our American wood fired pizza as well. So we'll have multiple ovens, and I really want to showcase that and have a beautiful dine-in, sit down, nice cocktails. I'm going to actually have Niles Peacock come out and help us with that with our cocktail menu.
Well, this one's going to be your own. It's not going to be a franchise model. The Clover, by the way, for those who are listening, it's about a 45 minutes to an hour outside of Charlotte, southwest of Charlotte, and it's a nice community. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple NFL players that came out of Clover, some great
Yeah.
football. But uh, so you're going to be there. Will you be there actually physically present then at that store?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. As we get it open and get running, I mean, obviously we'll have a store manager and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but I think this will be a great place for me to keep keep growing in the chef world and seeing what we
Yeah.
can come up with that's unique and different than
It'll
what
be a
everybody else is doing.
showcase, like the showcase location for you, doing like what Tony does at his Pizza Napolitana in San Francisco, making it
Absolutely.
freestyle. You're doing kind of following that blueprint of his of having different ovens for different purposes and things like that.
Correct. And we're going to do, and that's where I really want to mix flours and really come up with some different stuff that nobody else is doing right now.
Interesting, interesting. Well, you for 20 years, you've been, in a sense, you're one of the early proteges of Tony Gimignani, and there's a lot of his proteges now who are out there doing what
Oh,
you're doing
yeah.
at their own shops, Laura Meyer, others that are out there, making a name for themselves after kind of, learning, at the foot of the master. And so it sounds like you're kind of, on that path now.
That's right. Yep. And so I'm excited about that. I think we're over the hump of, I love mobile and mobile's great, but I also wanted something that it's hard to do different styles out of a mobile unit, right? And
Right.
so I think this will allow me to get that fixed
Yeah.
and
Yes, they're not
and
easy
have fun
to
with
do
it.
at all. Yeah.
So
So your mobile business will continue. You'll still be taking weddings and going to locations and being, out there on the streets doing it. Will you be competing against your own franchisees in some of these territories?
no, so well, and I've always run Pizza Expo over there at the World Pizza Games with Ken and Michael and Joe. And now it's at a point where I've never been able to compete in Vegas, right? So I can't do that, but I'm hoping that I can do kind of like what Tony's done is where his guys are out and ladies. I mean, he's got some amazing chefs that are coming up there and cooking, and I want to be able to bring a team like Caliente's does. Nick always brings the largest teams over there.
Yeah, all
So
these
I think eventually we'll be able to have a King of Fire team like that. So that's the
so
goal.
essentially you're going to have your proteges now who are going to
That's right.
compete on your behalf and on behalf of the brand and what they've learned from you. So this is a big step in your evolution of an
That's right.
operator.
Yeah, and I think my next step is Paglia and definitely more pan pizzas. I
Yeah,
really want to master that side of things. I've showcased what we could do, on the Americana side,
yeah,
and only because I get to only really get to compete in Italy. That's where I got to go, and Lars and Leah, they do such a good job, and Christina, Lars's wife, they're amazing at Roman pizza, right? Roman
right.
style, and so that's one style I really want to learn, and be able to one day showcase that at the restaurant as well. So
Yeah,
we're,
there's
we're
an opportunity there for sure. That's an area that's just still growing in the United States.
absolutely, yeah, for sure. And I think that would be a great add-on to our restaurant. It won't be the main focus, but if I can do well in a competition, and learn that style, I think that's where I need to head next.
I know that a few years ago we had you on. We talked about one of your other projects that you and Michael Shepard launched, which was Perfecting Pizza, and it was you basically consulting with new operators on how to get into the game. Are you still doing that? Are you still?
Yeah, absolutely. It's bigger than ever now. It's for $24 a month, you can have unlimited resources for that. So like from how to videos all the way down to employee handbooks, right? So Tony and Nick and Scott Anthony actually are partners now in that. And
Michael's
so
still
that
doing it?
no, Michael's retired now and enjoying life. So
The dream,
I,
everyone's dream.
yeah, so he's having a good time. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, so one final question, and we'll get you out on this because I know you've got a big job coming up today. Over the years now, and I've known you now for 20 plus years, and you were really, when you started, you were a kid. I mean, on other episodes, you've talked about how you started out. I think you got into pizza because you got injured, right? You were a CrossFit athlete of some sort, and then you
Yeah, we
break your
did pro
back.
motocross. Yeah.
So you got, this was like your plan B, so to speak, and now you've gone all in. But you've had your ups, your downs, your successes, your learning curve experiences. Can you talk a little bit about the things that you learned about, this game that you pass on through Perfecting Pizza and other consulting that you do and the training that you do with the new proteges and the new generation of people that are going to keep your legacy going? What are the main life lessons and business lessons that you think are important for people to know?
You know, that's a great question. So at the end of the day, my biggest thing is know your numbers,
Know
right? You
your-
got to know your numbers.
uh,
And the reason is we're all good chefs at some point. Everybody can make a great pizza, but if you don't understand how to actually put the money in the bank and keep it there, then you're going to be out of business in 4 or 5 years, right? And so I think the biggest thing is I've been on the highest level all the way to lost $2 million one year. So I've seen it all, and understanding to save for the rainy day is definitely a thing that people really getting into it need to understand. Where does every penny go? How to negotiate with your vendors properly to get the best deal, and don't be scared to charge for a phenomenal product. But there goes the back end of that open-end question is you've got to make a phenomenal pizza today. Nothing can be average. Today, there's too many pizza places opening up, getting a pizza education. There's phenomenal classes all over the world that will teach you how to make phenomenal pizzas.
Yeah.
So again, getting your craft down pat before you spend 600,000-700,000 to open a restaurant or spend $100,000 opening up a mobile unit, even for a pop up, just because you love doing it and you got 4 unis out under a tent. So many people are starting that way, and that is phenomenal because that's keeping cash in the bank. It's no overhead, right? And they're still doing what they love. So how do you turn that now into a true business and charge? But your pizza can't be average anymore. Not in today's time. You could have got away with it, Peter, 10 years ago, having an average pizza, but you got to be phenomenal. So I think bringing business and your creativity in pizza making are two of the biggest things that you gotta win on both sides.
So I think that know your numbers is a really like Tony's phrase is respect the craft. You can have on your box. You can go know the numbers.
Know the numbers, yes.
What's
And
the
because I help a lot of food trucks out that do other food, not just pizza, right? And the biggest thing is they don't know what their plates cost. They don't know what that cost of that plate is, and that's scary because they're just hoping, and then they look at their bank account 30 days later, and their accountant said, "You made money or you didn't make money." I want to know today, did I make money after yesterday? And that's knowing your numbers, every penny to the dollar, what it takes you to run.
do that? So you can't just do all of this yourself. You're opening restaurants. You're going to be a chef. You're going to be on the truck. You're booking things. Talk about your team. Who handles the numbers? Who watches over the business side and give?
So yeah, unfortunately, it was always me on the numbers. The managers put their numbers in, and then we digest them in the back, back at home kind of thing, right? But I just hired a new CFO. That's actually going to help us even grow that side of being better because the accounting's gotten out of control with having so many food trucks, and
Yeah, you got a
got a lot of deposits for weddings, and so it gets a little out of control. So we invested this year in saying, hey, I got to relieve a little stress from me on that side. So we did that. I have my kitchen manager. Actually, I got him working today. So he's back here. He actually makes the dough every day. Make sure that his dough temperature doesn't go over 75 degrees coming out of that pizza bowl. And then I have Caitlin over there in the corner. She's my district manager. She oversees everything. Pretty much holds the fort down, and then she gets mad at me when we have to run trucks like this in the heat today. So
yeah, right.
but,
Gotta keep them happy.
but yeah, so again, and then we have 5 other managers or 4. No, we just hired our 5th manager. And Chris, which is your nephew, is one of our managers, and we love him to death. So he's done phenomenal with this. But all those managers are responsible for one truck, one trailer. they're responsible for their numbers, getting the data in, put it in right, making sure they're running labor, running their food costs. They have to do inventory once a month, stuff like that. So,
Wow. So really, I think part of the challenge that you face and everyone who's trying to expand their brand is finding great team members and employees or partners that you can bring in and who can, well, what we used to say when I had my bakery was that the best employees are the ones who take pressure off of the boss. You got to
that's
find
right.
so your employees fall into two camps. They either put pressure on or they take pressure off. And if you're
That's right.
putting
That's
pressure
right.
on, then you're not helping me at all.
No, no. And luckily we've been able to, we have a very amazing team and everybody does their roles. And we're very blessed right now, Peter. So
Well, that's
we just got to keep the momentum going.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
Well,
hard thing too, you got to keep the momentum going. So
yeah, but this is a lot of growth that you've achieved in the last, couple of years. So congratulations on all that. I'm going to let you get
six more
back to
minutes.
work. Yeah, I'm going to let you get back to work because I know you've got a big day here, and the temperature. I mean, it's almost 12 o'clock here in Charlotte as we're recording this, and the temperature hasn't even hit the peak yet. It's in
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
now it's supposed to go to into the hundreds. So get that ice on your own head and
yes.
keep your dough cool. And Siler, congratulations on all you're doing. What the name of the place in
Thank you.
Clover? When's it going to open and it will be called King of Fire?
We're gonna call it King of Fire or something else that's by King of Fire. So we're still looking and thinking that through. But we're looking at October of this year. They just
October.
started construction. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let me know when you're ready to test out some of those new doughs, especially for
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
let me know. I want to come and do some tasting and
Absolutely.
we can brainstorm together. But
Well, thank you, Peter, for having me on too, man. I appreciate you guys so much over there at Pizza Quest. You are the best.
where are you going to display your gold medal?
We're gonna have one for each of the stores, and then I'm working on we're coming up something with the trucks, so we just got to figure it out.
Awesome.
So, but it's in the office now, hanging up.
Keep it going. I love your phrase. You got to know your numbers, watch your numbers, whatever it is.
That's it. You gotta know.
Get that engraved into everybody's, into everybody's
Yeah.
mind at least. And King of Fire, we're all down. You guys are all down here where we are in Charlotte. For anybody who's traveling in the area, please, what's the best way for them to follow you?
On Instagram, King of Fire Pizza, or
King of
Facebook.
Fire Pizza.
Yeah.
And okay, King of Fire Pizza. You'll see, you can keep abreast of everything they're doing. And if you are coming here, let Siler know if you're not in this area, but you're coming, let him know so that you can find out where he's going to be and get on their mailing
That's right.
list. I get every week, I get a ding on where you're going to be during the next couple of days. So,
Yeah.
all right, man. Great to see
Good
you
to see you,
again.
bud.
You're not the kid anymore.
I know I'm getting old, man. I got
Yeah,
some grades coming in now,
I see it in your beard. But now you've gone from being the startup guy to being the mentor of the next generation. So
That's right.
so
That's what we're here for.
that's your legacy work. So keep it going. Say hello to your team for me, and thank all of you for joining us on Pizza Quest today. We've been with Siler Chapman, and we'll see you all at the next episode of Pizza Quest.